All right. Okay. 5,
4,
4, 3, 2, 1.
I never did introduce myself. Del Griffith, American Light and Fixture, Director of Sales, Shower Curtain Ring Division.
Headbands watching on the beat. The 80s and 90s can be beat. So rhymes and butcher jaws. Let's blast and take decks in our cars. 80s dreams and 90s haze. Let's recall back to our favorite days. Welcome days.
Hello, and welcome to Totally 80s and 90s Recall. This podcast is your personal mixtape of music, movies, and all things pop culture from back in the 80s and 90s. If you're new to the show, thanks for popping in. It's going to be totally awesome to have you along for this ride. And for our epic returning listeners and subscribers, we're stoked to have you back. I am one of your hosts, David, joined by my nostalgia companion who loves a good Casio watch. It's my good friend, Rob.
Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw.
I always wanted one of those calculator watches,
Didn't you? I think you had one.
but my fingers were too big. I couldn't do them.
You had one.
I couldn't do them.
Sausage
You
fingers.
got it for Christmas. It was a stocking stuffer.
I guess. All right. With Thanksgiving just 2 days away, the Total 80s and 90s Recall team loves a good Turkey Day spread. I like to eat. Yeah. We love to eat turkey because it's good. We love to eat turkey like good boys should. Turkey for me, turkey for you. Let's eat the turkey in my big brown shoe. Love to eat the turkey at the table? I once saw a movie with Betty Grable. Eat the turkey all night long. 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Turkey lurkey do and a turkey lurkey dap. I eat that turkey, then I take a nap. This rhymes. Thanksgiving is a special night, as Jimmy Walker used to say, dynamite. That's right. Turkey with gravy and cranberry. Can't believe the Mets traded Darryl Strawberry. You was a
No.
Darryl Strawberry fan.
No.
Yeah. Turkey for you and a turkey for me. Can't believe Tyson gave that girl VD. Yep, we left that line in. White meat, dark meat, you just can't lose. I once fell off my moped and I got a bruise. Yeah. Turkey in the oven and the buns in the toaster. I'll never take down my Cheryl Teagues poster. Now, if you walk away from today's episode hearing nothing, at least hear this. Turkey and sweet potato pie. Did you know Sammy Davis Jr. only had one eye? Turkey for the girls and turkey for the boys. My favorite kind of pants are corduroys. I used to love corduroys.
You started fires.
No one loves corduroy.
I did. I had, yeah.
Didn't.
Burlington Coat Factory had a great deal on it.
I'm sure they did.
But most of all, gobble, gobble, goo and gobble, gobble, gickle. I wish turkey only cost a nickel. There you go. But it doesn't cost a nickel.
I wish you would have done it a little more true to nature.
Yeah. Well,
Turkey for you, turkey for me. I mean, just once. Can we get a voice just once?
No.
All right.
and I left out the line about masturbation.
What?
Yeah.
You know, people tune in for a certain
Yeah.
sort of content on this podcast.
Certain sort of humor.
And bopping the baloney is one of those things. But that's fine.
That's fine.
I see that, you're trying to, be on the good side of
Yeah,
the
for now.
We're on the good side of the podcast. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, great hello via our favorite Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Yeah.
We found that to be quite funny, I'm sure, back in
I
high school, Billy.
still find it funny now.
It's pretty good. Still would have been good with your I would have preferred a little Adam Sandler voice. So, while joining us with his own voice today, this week, back in action, I would call it, in the studio, the third piece of our cinematic tripod that is the movie hound, Kurt.
I am the leg that's a little shorter than the other.
It's
so
okay.
It makes it wobble.
It works.
That's all right.
We put a little tissue under Rob, and we're okay.
Under Rob. That's because he's got a drip.
That's right.
Is that why he needs a tissue?
Yeah,
It's
that's all. That's the only reason.
glandular.
Yes.
Don't judge.
He's got hyperhidrosis.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
but welcome back.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
We missed you for a week. And Rob,
He missed you for a week.
Yes, Rob.
A whole week.
Rob, we have an apology to do. We were bad last
were?
week. So we did our 100th episode last week.
Oh, we didn't
We
thank him.
thanked a lot of people.
We
and we
didn't
did
thank
not
her.
thank the movie hound one iota.
That's fine. That's
you
fine.
Totally,
I expect nothing less.
You totally forgot that. I'm blaming Rob on this one.
That is bad.
so-
That
it
is
was
bad.
really his fault.
So,
Who
what
does,
I'll say
who does
That
the
is
scripts?
bad.
we are quite thankful that you've been
Oh,
a
that
part of this
sucks.
podcast. You've been an integral part of this podcast.
integral.
I've been integrated.
Yes, that is correct. So,
Oh.
foul on us.
Wah, wah,
You and I are such elitists. We're like, meh, who needs the movie hound?
And it hurt me.
But we totally
I'm a
forgot
little
about
bruised.
You
as
haven't
well.
even listened to it.
What
Yeah.
are you talking about?
it. Yeah,
Yeah, he doesn't care.
he doesn't
I
care.
was listening to it
Cares a
right
little.
now.
He cares a little bit.
On the drive over.
He's going to go home tonight and cry in his huge pillow.
It's because my head's huge.
like Sputnik.
It's quite spherical, but pointy in
Plenty
places.
in parts.
boy.
All right. Well, speaking of parts,
Yeah.
put all these parts together and tell our fans, Rob, what it is that we're covering on this week's episode.
We are going to discuss the 1987 holiday classic Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
During holiday travel, some people get delirious. Some get delayed. And some get Del Griffin.
American Light and Fixture, Director of Sales, Shower Curtain Ring Division.
Neil Page got all three.
I was on my way home to spend a nice holiday with my family. Instead, I'm in a motel bed with a stranger.
So instead of Thanksgiving with his family, he's spending 3 days with the turkey.
Two happy clams just whistling down the road.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, they're the modern Tony family.
Paramount Pictures presents Steve Martin,
You ever been to Hawaii?
Yeah.
You see Don Ho while you were there?
See the second show. That's the best one.
Is that right?
Yeah.
John Candy,
Why are you holding my hand? Where's your other hand? Between two pillows. Those aren't pillows.
in a new film by John Hughes. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
See that Bears game last week? Yeah, hell of a game.
All right. What do we think of that trailer? It's tight. Not too long.
Yeah,
Not
I
too
liked
long.
it.
It was good.
What about the voice? What about
guy-
the voiceover guy?
Voice guy. He was mid, as the kids say.
Mid. He was a little mid.
Yeah.
Rob's very judgmental on the
On the
voiceover
voice.
guys.
Yeah.
You have a certain type. You're having a certain type you're looking for.
He doesn't like the gravelly
The
ones.
last one. What's the last one we did? He was really good.
Yeah, I know.
Who was it?
I don't
I was going to say
We
son-in-law.
don't know.
I don't even know our last episode.
Son-in-law.
We don't know.
Son-in-law.
We don't know the names.
Yeah,
that was the
son-in-law
last
was
one
good.
I was here and never thanked.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that was
everything.
really
Never
good.
thanked.
Oh, yeah, I know.
We don't know the names of the voiceover guys.
We're never going to let that
No.
down. We didn't say thank you to Kurt.
We did not. But hey, I like that trailer.
Christmas is coming up. You can make it up to
A
me.
lot of things in the trailer that weren't in the movie.
Yeah, a lot of. Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
'Cause
sorry.
there's plenty to dip into in that conversation. Also, I do say the only thing about the trailer is
Yeah.
the pillow joke. They give it away. It's one of their probably
Yeah.
key jokes in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I probably wouldn't, in hindsight, have included that in the trailer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true.
I would like to have. If I was John Hughes, I would have wanted that to be the pleasant surprise that it is in the theater.
Pleasant surprise. I don't know. Hand
It's
between
good.
two pillows?
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes.
So,
If you're the pillows, it's not a good surprise.
spoiled it just a smidge.
Yeah, that's
But
all right.
still good. It's not too long. You know what I think? The longer the trailer, maybe the worse the movie's going to be. So,
No.
but this is,
True.
I think it was a nice tight trailer. Whoever edited it did pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd have just left the pillow jokes out, but that's fine.
Yeah,
All right, before we begin reminiscing about this awesome film, I will give us, it's my job this week to give us what Roger, Ebert, and Gene Siskel thought about planes, trains, and automobiles. Rob is chasing a fly.
He is, just with his eyes. So in case you're wondering what he's looking
Dang
at, and it's
quite-
on the YouTube.
Nobody
It's
watched.
quite distracting, actually. So, all right. Well, I'm going to start out. I went on YouTube. I found the actual from the balcony, Siskel and Ebert. Sorry, I had to clear my throat.
You got verklempt.
Yeah, I did just a little bit. When I think about the two of them, I get choked up. You know, they're not with us anymore.
All right.
But Siskel said, so we have two of the funniest men, period. There's a little magic with these two men. The fingernail bit after the car crash is an absolute classic, he said. The movie is really good when Candy and Martin exchange emotional exchanges. He wishes there were more tender moments as they show the two actors' acting abilities and take out a couple of the slapstick scenes. but Siskel's notoriously doesn't like
Yeah.
slapstick comedy. Gave it a thumbs up and said this is John Candy's best role to date.
I agree.
Ebert, good comedy that plays off the heartfelt parts along with the sight gags. Roger enjoyed this movie a whole lot. He said a whole lot twice. Roger gave it 4 stars. He doesn't give out 4 stars very often. And he says it's the only movie his family watched as a custom every Thanksgiving. So
Very nice.
both of them very positive. Thumbs up in the balcony and in the Chicago Tribune or whichever one Roger wrote for. Chicago Times. I forget which one.
Something Chicago.
Oregonian.
He gave up 4 stars.
The Tri-Cities.
Oregonian.
Tri-Cities Review?
The Yakima Herald.
Yakima Herald.
That's right. Yakima Herald. That's a good one. It's a very good it's a good periodical.
Good periodical.
It's good to read.
That's right.
So, so do we think, what do we think of their 6 on Ebert's review? For once, maybe they're on target this time.
What? How many stars?
4.
4 stars.
Oh, yeah.
Out of?
I thought did you say this and I wasn't listening?
More than likely.
That he, retrospectively, I think he gave it 5.
I didn't even think he gave 5 stars.
think
I
I
thought he
have
was
it.
a 4-star guy.
I thought yeah. He's making up things.
I thought 4.
He got 4 stars
right
and he
here.
gave it the thumb.
Movie critic Roger Ebert gave this movie 3.5 out of 4 stars in his original review in 1987.
Oh, okay.
In a follow-up review in 2000,
4.
He gave it 4 out of 4.
So then
and it was
I-
included in his list of great movies, and he watched almost every Thanksgiving, just like you said.
So then I must have read the 2000
You
rewrite.
read the update.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad research on my part.
Yeah, well.
So 3.5
Rob
to
was
begin
happy
with.
to show you up.
We're at 4 stars. Yeah. Rob was waiting.
That's right.
You know what? He's like, watch this. He's going to get the wrong one. And then I can pounce.
I can
Pounce on top of this thing.
I'm out.
So
I'm done.
yeah, but for once, I think they're on target.
Yeah.
Usually we can be a little critical of those two because they don't see eye to eye with us.
especially with comedy movies.
Yeah, they're bad with comedy movies sometimes. But this one, I think this one has enough serious parts it offsets like some of the comedic parts. Like Siskel said, he thought the fingernail bit was really good. We can go into that later. I didn't think it was the best thing in the whole movie. I understood it, but I was like, okay, that's fine. It was fine. Much funnier parts than that.
True.
But he was really enamored with it. He singled that scene out. Siskel in the balcony.
In the balcony.
It's funny because I was telling somebody at work today about we're going to do this movie, and that's the part they referenced was the
fingernails.
Yeah, they go, oh yeah, the part with the fingernails. That's the exact part that they referenced.
It's not the part I would think people would reference.
Nope.
I was going to say, that's the part that I was just thinking, it's a little over the top almost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I thought it was a little that's the slapsticky
Yeah.
part to me. So, and I like the car scene, but that part with the, I guess, right? So,
Anyway, I don't know.
he doesn't know.
I was just giggling. I was just giggling. Sometimes I
You're
giggle.
just a giggler.
Sometimes you just like to giggle.
I'm just a giggler.
I just like to throw it out. Well, before we move on, we'll do what we always do at this point. What do you remember about watching this movie the first time? And then we'll go ahead and add that till at the end when we'll see what we still think about the movie. So we'll start with Kurt because you're too excited. So Kurt, go ahead.
Your mouth is open, so close it. Well, I get to go first.
I'm naturally a mouth breather, so
Yes,
it's hard
that's
to
right.
tell. I just
You're a mouth breather. That's cool.
We'll see if you even remember the first time you watched
Well,
this.
this is funny because
If you say last night.
my wife and I were talking about this, and for some reason, both of us grew up not watching this movie. And we both stated, I think the first time we watched it all the way through was last year at your house at Thanksgiving.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the review on this is a second viewing.
Pretty much second and third viewing.
All right,
I watched
so
it
then
twice.
let's
2
go
more
back to your 12 months.
12 months.
What do you remember of the first time you watched this movie?
Well, I found it quite hilarious. But
You went very
right.
proper on that.
Well, thank you. But
Excuse me.
it was one of those where looking back at the first time I watched it, I can see why I didn't watch it the first few times. Just because it's 2 middle-aged guys just going on a road trip, didn't scream funny or a good time for an 8-year-old kid type of thing.
I see that.
So, and then since I never watched it, and my dad and mom didn't seem to watch this one either, that it never even joined my lexicon of movies to watch.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't watch our YouTube, Rob not happy with your answer because his arms are crossed. And he keeps staring at the ceiling. So he's pondering
chasing the flies.
how to...
No, the fly is just everywhere.
It's driving you nuts. He's pondering how to react to your...
35 degrees
crazy.
outside.
Well, he
The
likes
fly
it
is-
raw, so bring it.
Let's go. So what do you remember the first time you saw Rob?
I think it's similar because did we not, little insider conversation, little insider trading,
Yes.
were we not scheduled to do this movie earlier? Did we at some point talk about doing it last holiday?
I don't think so.
Because for some reason, I watched it last Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And I want to say I did it because you had mentioned we were going to do it. So I was getting prepped. I was trying to get ahead. One of the very few times I
Oh, okay.
yeah.
No,
so I watched because I remember I had to pay for it, I think, at that
Oh, okay.
time.
Ooh.
So
No, we watched it last year because we were trying. The kids wanted to establish a Thanksgiving movie or two to watch because we always do Christmas and Halloween. So both of my boys were like, "Well, we should watch something on Thanksgiving." And so I was like, "Well, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a Thanksgiving movie, and so is Son-in-Law." So we all got together last Thanksgiving and we watched those two. And while I was watching them, I went ba 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 ba, and then we're doing them this year. So that's what happened. Light bulb came on. So
no, so I think I'm similar. I don't remember my parents watching it.
okay.
It wasn't a movie that I was super into. We weren't into it. Like it didn't have all the slapsticky.
Which I found kind of funny because I like John Candy and I like Steve Martin movies.
Yeah.
My mom would like watch Roxanne and stuff like that and Uncle Buck and stuff. We would watch that one.
Right.
But
Loved
the
Uncle
two
Buck.
of
Yeah,
them
I'd be curious to ask
together.
my parents if this was one they remember, or
So-
that they watched.
So I'm with you too. The only thing I remember about this movie is when I was a kid, when it came out, my dad did rent it because my dad was a big Candy Martin fan. Brought it home, watched it. I remember the two pillows joke. He was laughing a lot at that. I also remember halfway through the movie kind of being bored because when this comes out in 87, I'm 11. So I kind of wandered off and I didn't really, like, it didn't capture my whole.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I think I didn't watch it again really until again last year. We watched it. And then
it's-
last year I found myself more engaged in laughing at it.
Now it's like, oh, I get it.
And now that
is
I've
funny.
so yeah.
And now
Because
that
it's got more of a dramatic feel to it. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's humorous, but it's also got a softer side to it. And I think that's something that it's not like a Spaceballs. It is
Yeah.
overtly. You know.
So what I'll say is my first time watching it, if I go back to my first time watching it, I think I didn't like it as much as an 11-year-old. I found myself probably not into it all the way.
yeah.
So after we go through it, when we do our recap at the end, we'll see if I've changed my mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for you two just watching it last year, we'll go with you thought it was okay.
Yeah, it was
And then we'll see how it changes this year.
Yeah.
So,
I
okay.
like it.
Well, that's where we're at.
Yeah, because that's a good point. Because the last time I watched it a year ago, I didn't watch it with a critical eye.
Correct.
This time I watched it and I was listening, and it was my
you-
son kept trying to come into that.
Yeah, it landed right on your head.
It like literally landed on my forehead.
It did.
No, my son would come
big
into the
forehead.
room and want to talk to me about stuff, and I'd have to pause it because I'm like, I'm listening to what
Yes.
he's saying.
This is
I'm
important.
trying. I'm doing
working.
Yeah,
Folks, if you don't
see
think
me working,
Yes. If you don't think we're not dedicated to this podcast, Rob is
I won't even
ignoring
talk to my
his
son.
children in order to do research for this.
my son even said, he goes,
So
you don't
remember
have to
that.
pause it.
Yes, you
I
do.
said, yes, I
You
do.
don't know how important this is. So
He might say something
All right.
funny.
He might. You never know. All right. Well, Mom's got the turkey. Dad wants ambrosia, so we're going to need some of those miniature marshmallows. And since we can't cook, crescent rolls will be the perfect side dish as we go on planes, trains, and automobiles.
You can talk about the pit, barbecue, the band was jumping, the people too. Mess around, they're doing the mess around, they're doing the mess around, everybody's doing the mess around. Everybody was juiced, you can bet your soul. They did the boogie.
I will say before we go to the other parts, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but when we talk about remembering the movie, now that I've, as I go through it, there's a scenario where, and this might be because they're great actors, there's times I really hate both of them in this movie. Like, I just despise both of them. Like, I'm just like, oh, they drive, there's
that's
parts
good.
that just drive me insane on both of them. But, anyway.
No, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. So, well, before we begin reliving this week's movie, we like to give you, the listeners, the important info about the movie. And for that, I like to toss it over to the man who loves a good toss, the movie hound, Kurt.
Or I will catch it.
That's right.
Every time.
You're a
soft hands. Soft hands.
Toss.
He's a tosser.
Never
Okay.
mind.
All right. Here we go. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is an American road trip comedy film. Wow, that was bad.
Oh, here
Comedy
we go.
film. Written, produced, and directed by John Hughes. And starring Steve Martin and John Candy. With supporting roles by Layla Robbins, Michael McKean, Dylan Baker, Edie McGlurg, and Ben Stein. Gotta love Ben Stein. And his money. The movie was released the day before Thanksgiving on November 25th, 1987. It was made on a budget of $15 million and made almost $50 million at the box office. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles has a Rotten Tomatoes critics tomato score of Rotten Tomatoes critic score of 92% and an audience popcorn meter score of 87%.
Wow.
So it's one of our higher movies we've done.
My goodness.
Now, Rob, as David heads to your bathroom to moisten all of the towels and soak his dirty socks in your sink, please tell us about this movie by doing a little segment we call Back of the Box.
So terrible. Look, before you do back of before you do the back of the box, look, we don't hide on this podcast, so I'm just going to be up front. The movie Hound Kurt's little anecdote there
was written prior to me coming here,
but I definitely I came over to Rob's house today a little early, and I Del Griffith the bathroom up as his toilet decided to basically explode upon me, which had nothing to do with me, but I did have to clean it up.
How did you know?
And so yes, the moistened towels were definitely
everywhere.
My favorite thing is you texted me.
Yes.
Call me as soon as you have a second, please. And then it says, never mind.
Never mind.
Never
Well,
mind.
It was a
It all
disaster.
went down.
So the never mind is either we fixed it
Yes.
or it's too late.
It's too late. The
It's-
house is
It
gone.
was A or B. That's right. So anyway, back of the box.
All right, back of the box. So this is an actual back of the box. I have a little picture of it. It's great. Neil Page is an advertising executive who just wants to fly home to Chicago to spend Thanksgiving with his family. But all Neil Page gets is misery. Misery named Del Griffith, a loud-mouthed but nevertheless lovable salesman who leads Neil on a cross-country wild goose chase that keeps Neil from tasting his turkey. Steve Martin, Neil, and John Candy, Del, are absolutely wonderful as two guys with a knack for making the worst of a bad situation. If it's painful, funny, or just plain crazy, it happens to Neil and Del in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, every traveler's nightmare in a comedy come true. No running time.
No running time.
No, I tried to
I think it's what 134.
Oh, whatever.
Sounds
Something
right.
like that.
I'm pretty
Something
much.
like that.
I'm pretty sure it's either 132 or 134, which is perfect, by the way.
Yeah.
Hour and a half is exactly what I want.
It was a good
especially
little,
for
it
a
was
comedy.
Good little
Yeah.
movie. Yep.
So, all right, if you're new to the show, the three of us are going to talk a little bit about the parts of the movie before jumping into some of our categories that we've made up for ourselves.
Categories.
And that's where we share our favorite and maybe not so favorite moments from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We always like to start with the casting choices. Looking at this, could you imagine anyone except John Candy and Steve Martin in this movie? And even if you couldn't imagine anyone else, did the director have anyone else in mind for this movie?
I
Were you
found a
able to
few.
find
I was
any
gonna say,
reason?
I found a couple.
All right.
for it.
Well, let's
John
go.
Hughes originally wanted Tom Hanks for Neil,
yeah.
and Del, he wanted John Travolta.
That is insane.
That is a dumb.
John Travolta as Del? Hey, you like me. You like
This is
me. Everybody
86
likes me.
What's 87 John Travolta?
Nothing. He's
No,
absolutely
he is-
nothing.
Is this before
They didn't
Who
do
Look
it
Who's
because
Talking?
Yes, that's 89.
yeah, it's before that. So he had apparently had a few bombs, and
Oh.
so the producers and everything were like, "No, we don't want any part of that."
Yeah.
He did
And
that.
Tom Hanks was doing big, so
That's not drawn anybody.
He did
Yeah.
Staying Alive. No, I read that the studio absolutely refused.
Yeah.
They're like, you are not hiring John Travolta. He is box office poison, basically, is what they said. Now, 2 years later, look who's talking. Amazing, right?
amazing.
or Tom Hanks, I could see if you
Yeah,
partnered
Hanks would've been
partnered
okay.
him with the right guy.
But I saw
he'd
that.
make a good.
Yeah, they reached out
Neil,
to.
yeah.
They did reach out to him, but he was filming Big,
That's
Yep.
right.
so he was not available. So,
Yeah.
did
Oh,
you
that
have?
actually has in my notes. Paramount executives did not want Travolta in the movie
No.
because he was considered box office poison.
Correct.
Wow, look at that.
He was horrible.
I had John Goodman as Del Griffith,
and Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis
Yeah.
as Neil. Yeah. And then the last one I had was Kevin James.
Kevin James.
Chevy.
Ooh, nice. He was like
Chevy
12.
Chase and Michael Keaton were
Oh.
both considered for Neil Page.
I
found
didn't see that one. Yeah. I honestly, I saw a thing where literally every 35 to 40-year-old white actor in Hollywood was considered for Neil Page at one point.
Yeah.
So, by the way, Rick Moranis, John Goodman, just a little later in like the early 90s, 94, I believe, they filmed the movie The Flintstones.
Oh, yeah.
And in this movie, they sing Flintstones.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
spooky, Rob.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll talk about interesting facts. Sorry, get ahead of myself.
Other than that, I couldn't find any other casting situations like where anyone else was considered for other parts.
No, that's all I
of
found.
anything. That's all I saw. There's a Lawrence kid in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Not Joey. No, whoa.
yeah,
Not him.
Whoa, but little brother.
And
Matthew.
he prefers noogies.
Okay, and he does. By the way, what kind of grandpa is this?
As opposed to the
Dutch or the Indian.
Indian Burns.
Indian Burns.
Yeah.
What grandpa's coming over just throwing out noogies and Indian Burns?
My,
to everybody?
my grandpa did.
Can we say Indian Burns? They said it
I
in
was
the
going
movie.
to say, I don't know.
I
I'm
don't
just going to call them Burns.
We'll just call them Burns.
That's what they called him in the movie.
Yeah, we're just quoting the movie. It's not.
it's
It's not.
movie quotes.
It's not like a stance we're taking.
That's right.
So
No,
okay.
My grandpa would come over and he'd come up to me and he'd say, odd or even.
Oh,
And then
Then
he'd
he'd
go-
beat
he'd
you.
go,
Is that how many punches you got?
I go, even. And then he would take a big old thing of nose hairs. Bring.
Gross.
God.
And then he'd hold them out. And
What's,
he'd-
You had to count
what's
them?
wrong with him?
Yeah, this
think he
sounds
was
messed up.
yeah, that's-
What's wrong with our grandparents?
I
Like,
don't know.
just you can just say hello.
No.
Let's just try hello. How about a
Nope.
hug?
Nope.
Hot
Nope.
pocket?
Sometimes kids just got those puffy cheeks.
I guess so. So-
And then he would take his teeth out.
yeah, I don't know what's going. Yeah,
He had, and then he would
The
gum
tooth out thing.
he'd-
Yeah.
with his stubbly.
yeah. My grandpa used to do the tooth, the
so good.
denture thing where he'd flex them out, pull
Oh,
them
yeah,
in,
yeah.
and you'd be like, oh, yeah. This is great. Yeah, and then he'd take out that big package of the like big league chaw,
Oh, yeah.
but actual chaw, and he'd just shove that stuff in his cheek.
Our grandparents are great.
Yeah, grandparents were
memories.
awesome. He had a spittoon.
Memories.
My grandpa had a spittoon next to his recliner. Dink. So, good for you, Grandpa.
That smells
So
great.
that did wonderful. Ham's beer and that pouch
yeah.
of
In a
stuff.
pouch.
My grandpa drank
His grandma was
little
smoking Camels.
stubby bottles of
yeah.
Oli.
Yeah.
Oli's. Olympia.
No, I think my grandma was a Virginia Slims lady.
Oh.
Yeah,
Very fancy.
classy.
She was classy.
She wasn't one of them floozies.
So,
What are you
all
trying
right,
to say?
well,
My grandma was camels.
Hey.
all right.
One of them camel
Well,
ladies.
since
Back
we don't
to
have
casting choices,
any
I
other,
guess?
oh, do you have more casting choices?
Well, I just said I liked how Kevin Bacon was in there
Yeah.
just because they were filming
Yeah.
She's Having a Baby at the same time, and he said,
Yeah.
"If you need anybody out,
Did you see the
Just call me.
crossover?
So yeah, how
Lots
weird.
of crossovers
Yeah.
between
So-
that movie and this movie.
So
They
later
play.
in, and you probably know because you're alluding to it, later in the movie when the wife is watching TV,
Yep,
the movie that's playing on
She's
the
Having
TV
a
is
Baby,
She's
yeah.
Having a Baby.
which hadn't come out yet."
That doesn't release till a year later. But Hughes is the director, so apparently he has an edited cut, and he decided to throw that in.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone in the Hughes universe says that Kevin Bacon is the same character, and him and Neil are crossing paths in New York City a year before he has a baby. So there you go.
Yeah, very strange.
Because otherwise, why would he? He has no speaking part. I mean, he's Kevin Bacon
Yeah.
at this point. He has no speaking part or anything in this.
He just wanted to be a part of it.
I
Man.
just want to be here.
Did you? Okay, so this.
Just happy to be here, John.
Are we into the interesting facts now?
We are
are.
now.
I feel
yes.
like you.
Start with a fact.
All right.
We've naturally merged in.
We naturally. We
It's
did
called a
that.
transition, Rob.
Oh,
yes.
Is that what they call it?
That's what they call
right.
it. Yeah.
I didn't even
I
notice.
do not know that.
No. So, talking about crossovers.
Okay.
Did you see the Deadpool crossover?
I did.
That Ryan Reynolds includes something from this movie
Yes.
in almost everything he does.
Well, I only got it in two of the Deadpools. I got
Yeah.
Deadpool 2, he's reading the Canadian Mounted.
Yeah.
And then in Deadpool and Wolverine, the burned out car is
And
in
the
that.
trunk.
And yeah, it's in that Never Wasteland place they
Yeah.
go to.
Yeah,
So
but
I
he
saw that.
tries to incorporate
Yeah.
something. This is one of his favorite. And I was like,
He loves it. One of his favorite movies.
Yeah.
He's
That was cool.
He's a Canadian, so he's honoring John Candy.
That's right.
That's a fellow Torontoian. Is that what
right.
they call themselves? Torontoians?
I'm sure it is.
Torontian?
If not, I'm sure they'll
Torontian?
tell you.
I like Torontian.
Yes. For our
That
Canadian,
sounds like an alien.
Yeah,
for
it
our
does.
Canadian audience, please weigh in and let us know. Torontian, Torontioian,
Torontian.
maybe just
Torontoian.
do they like
Torontoian.
Canuck? Is that okay? I don't know. I mean, there's a hockey team named that, so it's got to be something.
Can't be derogatory.
Yeah. So,
People-
okay, I got movie.
Toronto.
He's researching.
What is he doing?
He's researching.
All right. Well, I've got movie was inspired by a real life incident that happened to Hughes.
Torontonians.
Torontonians. Okay.
There you go.
You know, we had an opportunity for someone to reach out and give us that info.
No, I didn't want to wait.
He doesn't.
Steal
He
it.
doesn't want to participate with the audience.
Yeah, we don't want our Canadian audience to interact with us at all. So, this happened to Hughes in real life. He was on a plane from New York to Chicago, got diverted to Wichita, and it said it took him 5 days to get home.
And then he ended up in Phoenix at one point.
Yeah, that's good.
So he just kept going the wrong direction across the country.
And Kurt, big Phoenix fan. Yes.
Apparently.
Your whole family except you lives in Phoenix.
No,
That's true.
just my brother.
Oh, okay.
The rest of them live.
In Arizona, though. They're
Yeah.
around the area.
That's
So.
why I don't visit them. It's
in
too
the
hot.
South.
Hughes wasn't, wrote the script out in a weekend after he thought about it, like he does every other movie, right? Just pounds it out. And he actually wasn't actually going to direct it until Steve Martin read it, and then he signed on to do the movie. And then Hughes said, well, if Martin's in, then I'm going to direct. So, and Martin signed on to the movie because of two things he read in the script.
The F-bomb laden thing.
The F-bomb situation and the seat.
Yeah.
Where he
Yeah.
breaks the
Oh,
seat.
yeah.
He thought the seat scene was the funniest thing he'd ever read.
He broke the goddamn seat.
It was fine when I got out.
Just the way he says it.
But what did happen was it was 145 pages long, the script. And so he read it, and then he went to Hughes and said, this is great. How are you going to cut anything? And Hughes said, I'm not going to cut anything. And he goes, typically a particularly comedy script are only about 110 pages long because you say about a minute per page. And 110 minutes gets you to your, that's a comedy time frame. So he was like, okay, but at 145, that's going to make it really long, they thought, which we'll talk about length. We like talking about length here on the show, and we'll talk about length here in a minute.
I don't. It
Look,
makes me
I
sad.
knew he was going to go.
Say, I'm out.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go there. So, all right, you got anything else? I mean, I got a lot else, but I'll let you talk too.
I like the exterior aircraft shot was from the movie Airplane. They just reused it.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I got that there's multiple remakes being discussed.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about any of those.
I don't want to talk about
both of them.
I don't even think you can. I was talking
If
to
they
this.
do it, I just hate it when they do it. When they make remakes of
You
movies that
can't-
don't need to be made, don't do it.
But you can't remake this movie. I'm honestly, when I say you shouldn't, I agree with you. Don't touch it. You can't remake this movie. And I was making this case to my wife. In today's, none of this situation would happen because in today's world, he doesn't worry about cabs. Guess what? I'll just get an Uber. I don't have to worry about hailing a cab. If he's looking for a hotel room, he can just go on apps and find it. You can get an Airbnb or a Verbo. You don't have to go to the Braidwood Inn. You can find other places to sleep. So the point is none of this is going to happen.
Yeah.
In a 2024. You can't do, I don't even know how you would do the movie. And who's taking a road trip? Nobody's going to be taking a road trip. And nobody's getting on trains or buses at this point. Right? Again, you would just rent a car or you would not even rent a car. You could get a Uber. You can do whatever you want. Like, this is too simple at this point.
Too much.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to talk about any of those. So, I got
talk about it.
movies rated R, but would have been PG or PG-13 except for the rental car scene.
Yep.
Where Steve Martin says the F word 18 times in 1 minute.
times.
So, however, in New Zealand, still PG, even with all the F words.
The New Zealand,
New Zealand
they know
is
how to
like,
party.
That's not a bad word. That's fine. Play the whole movie. Whole family coming in.
Yes. In a 2022 article, Yahoo Finance detailed the cost of Neil and Dell's trip.
Oh, nice.
So in 1987, they broke it down. They had it all like itineraried out. Grand total, $645 in 1987.
Wow, that's pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, and that's incidentals. It's some meals that they.
That's good.
Good.
Is that paying for the entire car that is demolished?
Yeah.
That's I have that in questions later.
Yeah. 2002, grand total $1,639.
Not so bad.
Yeah.
That's only if Dell got the insurance on the car.
Yeah. See, that felt cheap because I was just thinking all the hours you've spent and the $75 you gave the guy at the beginning and he just gave it away.
Yeah.
So you add it all up. I don't know.
So, so the original cut of this movie was 3 hours and 40 minutes long.
Yeah, and I read that it still exists.
Still
It does.
exists.
It's
just
in a vault.
deteriorating in the
Yeah,
vault.
it might not be any good.
Yeah.
But so then Hughes and the editor go and edit it to 2 hours, and they took it to test screenings. And after the test screenings, they chopped it down to that 132 or 134 it is now, which was a good idea. But they did cut a lot of stuff out. And I found something they cut out that I think actually would have been okay to add to the movie, would have helped with this. So a deleted scene, when they're first in the hotel room at the Braidwood Inn. So when Neil's taking a shower, there's a scene where Candy orders a pizza and beer to be delivered to the
I know,
room.
I've heard this.
And so when the pizza delivery guy shows up with his stuff, Dell only tips him $1. And it really makes the pizza delivery guy mad. And later in the evening when they're being robbed, it's the pizza delivery guy that's robbing them. So in the movie, you're just random people are breaking into rooms. But if you had that scene, you would be like, oh, he's still mad. Because you see how he smiles when he takes Dell's money.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense if you saw that scene. So, but they also cut out for the wife, which I'll talk about her later. But they cut out for the wife that, she kind of has a bit part. Mm-hmm. She had a lot more. They had a story where she was concerned he was lying to her and he was cheating on her the whole time, and that's why she always looks so distressed. But the way they cut it, but the test screenings, people were like, they didn't care about that, or they didn't like it, so they took that part out. Yeah. But they kind of left her with a nothingness to go on with, right. And then she just kind of has weird looks on her face, the rest of the movie. So, and then the Doobie taxi scene. Do you like the Doobie taxiola?
Yeah,
that's good. So the director, one of the producers said this was a 30-second scene. It's half a page. He goes, but they were allowed to improv, and so all you hear in the movie about he's proud of his town, all this stuff. But that's all improv. But the producer said they ended up with 4 hours of footage for a 30-second take because they just kept going back and forth with just crazy stuff. They talked about a 2-headed snake. They did all. I mean, it was just insane. And they said they just went on, and the crew was laughing so much. John Hughes is like, just roll, just keep on going. And then of course they ended up using the he's proud of his town. So
that's right.
What are you gonna do? So, all right, what do you got, Rob?
That's it.
You have no other interesting facts?
Well, we talked about it. The rental car.
Yeah.
That appears in Deadpool and Wolverine. I've got the critics. This was interesting. I missed it. On my second or third watching. After Dell steals Neil's cab at the beginning of the movie, Neil looks down and sees that the cab is gone. In the puddle on the ground, there are 2 shower curtain rings.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
I didn't
know that.
I didn't notice it until I watched it. I was like, there are.
Nice.
So, weren't you sure they just weren't earrings that made you look older?
Yeah, you just dropping those things everywhere.
By the way, this movie too, Hughes is dropping in some of his favorite character actors because Edie McClurg that was in Ferris Bueller, she's the rental car. Yeah. Ben Stein, as you said, is one of the gate guys, and then Ferris's dad is in the meeting with him at the beginning of the movie. Right. So I don't know who that guy is, but it's Ferris's dad.
I don't know if you noticed I don't know if you heard the marathon bus driver's voice. Yeah, it's the dude from
Weird Science.
Weird Science.
Drink it.
Yeah. I'm guessing there had to be more where you actually see that guy.
Oh yeah. Well, and the old guy sitting on him on the plane. He's from Home Alone when he goes, she's got lots of earrings, dangly ones. So that was that guy. He's also in a good episode of Seinfeld where they're stealing his records. But I saw a producer tell another deleted scene. It was Candy in the hotel room telling a joke. Or a story, and they said the whole crew died. So he said in the old days, coal miners would go down into the coal mines to do whatever. He goes, they would take a canary down there with them in a cage. And if they looked over and the canary had died, they knew there was poison gas in the area, so they would get out of there. And so Candy said, by the way, if we had a canary between this blanket right now, he'd be dead. So they didn't leave it in the movie, but everybody said that they were dying.
Not everybody can be odor free.
I saw that.
My dogs are barking.
I saw that it was like, you might have said it was filmed over 85 days or something. It didn't take very long.
No.
But while Candy was on set, he had an entire gym.
Oh, yeah, I saw
yes.
Delivered to his hotel. And weights and the thing.
Treadmill, all of it.
Didn't use it once.
Never even got close to it, Steve Martin said.
Steve Martin said he would hang clothes on it.
I'm like, he's my spirit animal.
That's correct. He tried. What you can do? I bet it was in his contract. Like, you got to stay under 250 or something, whatever his thing is.
His agent probably put it in there hoping he'd work out more.
No, didn't even come close.
That's good. So. Did you notice that Candy at the end of the movie, or right when they're getting the red truck, has a black eye?
Yeah.
And then in the rest of the movie, he doesn't have a black eye. So what happened was there was a deleted scene where Neil punches him, but it did not test well. So they edited the punching and all that out, but just left him with a black eye at the end of the movie, and you don't really get. So they said they tried, I guess, to explain it because when they get in the truck, they had to ride in the back. He goes, he's a little sensitive about people riding up front with him. That was supposed to be the cover for maybe you interpret the truck driver punched him in the eye, right? But really, Candy was supposed to have gotten punched by Neil, but they took it out.
Interesting.
Because they said it made Neil too hateful. Like, you're trying.
He already punched him once.
You're trying to make him evolve.
That's how you
could have killed him, punching the guy in the gut like that.
That's how Houdini died.
But couldn't you? I feel like you could have thrown some makeup on him and edited it out, right?
No.
So, that's right. Snow. They had to move around looking for snow.
Yes.
yeah.
They literally had planes, trains, and automobiles to drive around
Yeah.
to find snow.
They said they filmed at a certain time of year in Chicago. It was supposed to all be in Chicago because they figured, and then no snow showed up.
snow.
So they had to go to Buffalo, New York. And he goes, so like that trip where they're in the back of the truck, they're in Buffalo, New York, and they're just driving around.
How cold do you think it is?
So one. It's great. So the scene at the end where he's on the train, Steve Martin,
And the smile.
Yeah, and he didn't know he was being filmed. Hughes just put a camera on the train.
On the what?
When he's
On
on
the
the
train
train
when
after
he's
he leaves
thinking-
Dell.
Oh, yeah.
And so none of that originally was, all those facial expressions aren't him thinking about Dell. They later asked him, he was going over the lines for his next scene.
Oh.
He thought that was just a rest moment. He's just on this train. But Hughes had put a camera in, and then Hughes saw the footage, and he goes, so he cut in the flashbacks to Dell.
Clever.
To try to make it look like, okay, I really kind of like this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, that was, he didn't know it was there.
Oh, that's good. I didn't know that.
The house in the movie, similar to the Home Alone house.
Just one town away.
Yes.
Oh.
But in a similar neighborhood that they said.
Okay.
And I heard on another thing that they built that house. Hughes had that house constructed. It cost $100,000 to just build the house from scratch because he wanted it to look a certain way.
Yeah.
So the studio just was like, build a house?
Yeah.
Do you think they get to sell it for profit afterwards? Or
I'm sure they did.
it's crazy. Yeah, go ahead. Build that. When you're John Hughes, I guess in 87, you're like, I'm going to build a house. All right.
Okay.
Knock yourself out.
When
So-
yeah, John Hughes in the 80s, you could do
You can do
So-
anything.
anything you want.
Oh, yeah. I saw a thing they said that Hughes views he gave an interview that said he viewed all of his movie characters living at the same timeline. He said if it was up to him, they're all from Shermer, Illinois. Del Griffith lives 2 doors down from John Bender. Ferris Bueller knows Samantha Baker from 16 Candles, and they go to the same parties. So yeah, he has this whole thing where they're all wrapped like together because they're all in the same. They multiples of them go to the same high school apparently. Yeah. So you're gonna do that. Candy used his Del Griffith character as the inspiration for Gus Polanski in Home Alone. Polka, polka, polka. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So he's
Polka twist.
Polka twist. And at the end, there's a really bad cover of Paul Young's Every Time You Go Away. The studio would not allow the movie to use the actual song.
Why?
Because they thought that the movie was going to be a bomb. They said when they told them the idea of the movie, they thought it sounded stupid. And they're like, we're not going to tie Paul Young to this. So they said, you can use the song, you just don't get the original. So they had a remake made, which isn't good, by the way. I wish they had the Paul Young song. It would have been really good. But and so you get some kind of karaoke version at the end that I'm not happy with.
Oh, you're fine.
No, I'm very upset to this day.
Do this day.
Right? It would have wrapped up a perfect 80s movie with an actual 80s song, not somebody on a Casio keyboard going, "Hey, me, time to go away." And they did it a little too sappy. It was a whole thing. I was not happy about it. I'm still not happy about it. I'm steaming.
So how do you feel about it?
I'm upset.
Okay.
You're steaming.
For anyone at home, I'm stalling right now because Rob keeps staring at his computer.
Sorry, I was trying
and
to
he's
find
not contributing
something.
whatsoever.
I'm here. I'm
Yeah,
here.
okay.
I'm here. I'm here.
I can see you staring at,
I'm
you know,
here.
we got to take a laptop away from that guy or something.
I was doing some research.
He was researching.
It
On the podcast.
It didn't pan out.
It didn't pan out the way he wanted. It was fool's gold.
Sorry.
What it is
I'm
I
back
said
now.
something and he wanted to disprove it more likely.
Well,
See
it
if we
only
could.
happens once per podcast.
Once per pod.
You've already got your one.
I know. Dang it.
Correct.
You peaked too soon, sir.
What did he prove me wrong on?
I've already
That's
forgotten.
my life
okay.
story.
That's my life story. Wah, wah.
Oh, goodness.
So,
All right.
Yep.
Anyway.
Oh, I did see one last thing. Edie McClurg. So her whole bit is pretty much improvised
Yep.
from start to finish. But she says to this day, she has people approach her
Oh,
on the
yeah.
street and tell me, ask them to
her.
tell
Yeah,
her,
you're fucked.
You're fucked. And she says she'll do it. She goes, I'll be in the middle of a store and someone will ask me to do it. And she does it. And then they laugh and they take a photo and they think it's the best thing ever. So, yeah.
I love it.
You love it.
I do. I love
All
that
right.
part.
I think we're fucked.
Do you have any more?
Long time ago. This was people knew this.
Yeah.
This is not
Do you
new.
have any more interesting facts, Rob?
I don't have any.
Really? I felt like you would have had more.
No, remember, it came up short.
Yeah. I got nothing.
Stop short.
That's right.
So,
Me too.
all right.
I got
You're
nothing
out
else.
too?
I'm out.
Yeah,
All
we're
right,
out.
well-
I'm spent.
And I'm spent.
If we're spent and we've lost our mojo,
Yeah.
let's go into our categories. Category 1, our favorite quote.
They're here.
You can't handle the truth.
No. I am your father.
There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
All right, so this I told before we jumped on the pod here. This whole movie seems like a quote, so it was tough to narrow this down to one.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a handful. I have one, like I would say was my major one. Actually, I'm tied for one, but I'm going to let Kurt go first before I try and steal anything. So
Ooh.
what do you got?
All right. I was going through a couple of them, but I'm gonna go with this one just because I find it hilarious, just because of the suddenness. They're on the plane, Dell's sleeping, and Neil just kind of looks over, and then just Dell opens his eyes. $6 in my right nut says we're not landing in Chicago, and it's just completely out of nowhere.
Yes.
By the way, is that a good bet? Because he did land in Chicago, so does he owe him $6 in his right nut at that point, right? That sucks. All right, so, okay. Well, what do you got, Rob?
Sorry, I'm over here. I'm doing all kinds of stuff.
No, that's fine.
Hey, no,
He's
so
multitasking.
this is the quote that got the biggest laugh for me
Okay.
in the movie.
Yes.
But it's this scene right here.
Okay.
If I wanted a joke, I'd follow you into the John and watch you take a leak. Now, are you going to help me, or are you going to stand there like a slab of meat with mittens?
I don't know why. The way he says
meat with
he
mittens.
says the slab of meat with
So that's
mittens.
I put that.
And that I laughed.
I put that down.
so hard. But and then when he gets punched in his eyes,
Oh, yeah.
flutter.
That was one of my
the slab of meat with mittens. And
That
then-
was definitely one of my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we have to say it. It's not my favorite quote, but I think the most famous quote from the movie might be the two pillows quotes.
Yeah.
Like those aren't pillows.
Yeah.
Like I think people said that I don't even think had seen the movie, but everybody knew like the "Where's your other hand" between two pillows. That's one. I think it might be one of those '80s quotes. Like everybody kind of knows. I like this one quite a bit where he goes, "You're in a pretty lousy mood, huh?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You ever traveled by bus before?" He goes, "No." He goes, "Your mood's probably not going to improve much." So I thought that was pretty funny.
My favorite part of that one is the guy sitting next to him on the bench with two random white mice just crawling on his leg.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, well, here's
And
my.
just his giggle after he says it.
Yeah.
He's, he's trying to soften the mood. But he's
Well,
like,
here's my tie. So my first one is at the airport. It's about the flight situation.
Oh, yes.
And
that
he
was my
just
other
goes, "We'd have more luck playing pickup sticks with our butt cheeks than we will getting a flight out of here before daybreak." And I laugh a lot at that one. But the second one, that it's basically the same, is it's a little longer. It's not just a quote, but they're in the car, and maybe this could have been seen, but I'm just going to use it here. They're in the car, and he says things like, "Things about you annoy me too."
Yeah.
And then he says, "You play with your balls a lot."
I know what you're going to say.
And he goes, "Larry Bird doesn't do as much ball handling in one night as you do in an hour." And then he goes, "You know what I'd like right now?" He goes, "Another couple balls and an extra set of fingers."
My favorite part of that, though, is Steve Martin's response when he goes, "I don't play with my balls." And he really enunciates balls.
The Larry Bird doesn't do as much ball handling in one night as you do. And then he said, he's so quick. Like most of the movie, Dell's jokes are kind of corny. Like he does the "my dogs are barking,"
Yeah.
or where he's like, "Hey, I have a motto: love your job, or like your job, love your wife," or whatever. He has all this cornball. And then on this one, when he goes, you know what I would like? He goes, "What? An extra set of balls and another set of fingers." He's so quick with that. It was good. Like that ball thing really upset him because he said it many times. So, but yeah, there's lots of other. I mean, there's plenty of other quotes. When old boy, the train conductor's son, tells the
Owen?
wife she's short but she's sturdy or something like that.
Oh, her first baby came out sideways.
He
And she didn't even scream
or nothing. That dude's horrendous, by the way. He's so gross.
Well, and then Neil's response, he goes, "Oh, you're quite a trooper."
So that was good. All right. Well, that'll take us to category 2, our favorite scene in the movie. We'll start with Rob on this one.
Oh, mine's the rental car scene.
No, of course.
Hands down.
Yeah. I'm right there with that.
I was going to say, is it when it's on fire and they're picking all the stuff up?
No.
Oh,
at the
rental
counter.
car at the counter. I thought.
I mean, it's priceless.
I mean, it starts. It starts right from the gate, and I know it's coming. But welcome to Marathon. May I help you? And Neil says, "Yes." How may I help you? you can start by wiping that fucking dumbass smile off your rosy fucking cheeks. And then he goes into say, fuck, 18 more times.
Yep. I want a fucking car.
I want a fucking Toyota. I want a fucking Datsun. I want a...
Oh, it's so funny.
What's interesting about that is, and I mentioned this when I was watching it, is I think that might be the first time like I ever remember, maybe I just don't know his stand or anything, but him using bad words. Like in every movie I've ever seen him in, he's never really used. He said shit in The Jerk, but I've never heard him use the F-bomb before. And I mean, the look on his face too. I mean, he's very upset. But when she says, "Well, can I see your rental agreement?" I threw it away. Well, you're fucked.
I like how she goes, "Oh boy,
oh boy, oh boy." I don't like the way you're talking to me right now.
Well, then he comes back with, "And I really don't care for the way your company left me in the middle of fucking nowhere with a fucking keys to a fucking car that isn't fucking there."
It's so good. Yeah, that's right there. I mean, that's great.
I just thought that whole thing was super funny, and their role. It says on instruction from John Hughes, Edie McClurg's role as the St. Louis rental car company was partially improvised.
Oh yeah,
so simply just riff and go.
She made up the whole phone call.
Yeah, she made up the phone call. I just thought, and he was convinced to join the production because of this scene, or Steve Martin was.
What do you got, Kurt?
Mine was after the car caught on fire and they're sitting there.
Oh, interesting.
And then they both do the I just thought it was their excellent work together. And it was some of the best work that showed off what they both do really well. I thought it was just the subtle turns, and they each took their turn looking at the car that's on fire. And then when Neil grabs a hold of John Candy and they're doing the opposite sides.
That's pretty good.
And then just John Candy's quick little quip. And then the punch.
Oh, yeah.
And then right after the punch, Steve Martin does the pratfall over the... I just thought it was all the best parts of each one of them.
Yeah. No.
I do appreciate major highway, no other traffic coming at all. I'm like, okay. For the at the holidays, nonetheless.
They had 3 cars that dodged their
They
stuff.
did. 3. So
it was rush hour.
So
You're going the
those
wrong
both
way.
are great. I listed again. I couldn't do anything here. I listed several, so I have honorable mentions. I've got the driving the wrong way because I like that part when
How does he know where we're going?
Yeah.
He doesn't know where we're going.
But I really like the part where he looks over and John Candy's the devil because that's really funny. Like I just thought it was funny. And then I got to give again an honorable mention to the end when he goes back into the station and he's just sitting there. Yeah. That's a really good scene. I mean, it's not a funny scene or anything, but John Candy does a really good job with that. About I don't have a home.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
that whole scene from where he's on the train going back to get him. And
that's a good scene.
It shows like what you said. I think it shows what they were very capable actors. And
and I can't believe you got your nice shirt on today. Yeah. I thought your favorite scene might be the where he basically insults him to the nth degree, and then you can, for the first time in the movie, you see like he really hurt his feelings, and he says, "I like me, my wife likes me, my customers like me,
because I'm the real article."
Yeah, I think that's a good scene too, because up until that point, you kind of probably hate Del, because he's a nightmare, and he's not considerate at all.
No,
but then that happens, and you're like, okay, even he didn't deserve kind of all of that. Yeah. Maybe when you see someone reading the vomit bag, So anyway. But my favorite scene, my favorite scene, the one I laughed at the most is when the cop stops them for driving in the burned out car.
Yep.
Top of the morning, officer. Hi. Is there something I can help you with?
The hell are you driving here?
We had a small fire last night, but we caught it in the nick of time.
Nick of time.
You have any idea how fast you were going?
Funnily enough, I was just talking to my friend about that. Our speedometer's melted, and as a result, it's very hard to say with any degree of accuracy exactly how fast we were going.
78 miles an hour.
78, huh? Well, yeah, I could buy that. Sure, I guess. You would know better than us, especially since we got a melted speedometer.
Do you feel this vehicle is safe for highway travel?
Yes, I do. Yes, I really do. I believe that.
I love that scene because Candy is so confident. Yeah. Yes, I do.
Well, and then right after that, he starts going, "Do you realize you don't have mirrors?" Yep. Lost those. Like he's really quick.
No, that whole scene, he's very, with any degree of accuracy.
Yes, but oddly enough, the radio works.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Darn the thing. It's crystal clear.
Yeah, man. So I laugh. I think that scene's great. There's lots of other good scenes, but I just laugh at that when he goes, "You think this is highway safe?" I do.
Absolutely. I do. Yeah.
There's not much to look at,
But it'll get you there.
It'll get you there.
And that's another crossover. He says that same line in Cool Runnings.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he says
which he likes the rum also, so it works out.
Gonna go on a limb of controversy here. I've never watched Cool Runnings.
Oh.
Yeah, I have not.
I love the Cool Runnings.
I know you are a big fan. He's mentioned it multiple
feel the
times.
rhyme. Get on up, it's bobsled time.
No.
Cool Runnings.
Okay, that's for another day.
You want to kiss my lucky egg?
All right, let's kiss category 3. This is our full Loja category.
Do I look stupid to you? No, sir. Do I look like a schmuck to you? No, sir. Those people out there, they kill for power, for money.
Well, these people in here are going to choose whether or not somebody went full Loja in this.
Yeah.
You just heard how great Robert can be on camera. Now, if somebody went full Loja, you can nominate them. Or is there a character you could subtract from this movie, drop Loja in, because he makes any movie better? And could he possibly make Planes and Trains and Automobiles a better movie? So we'll start with you, Rob.
I just put, I want to see Loja in the rental car scene.
Oh, as Edie McClurg? Or as Neil?
Like it.
I want to see him as Neil.
Oh, okay.
I want Edie and
I don't know.
Robert Loja.
I want a fucking Datsun.
Yeah.
I want a fucking Toyota.
I think he would. I think he would scare the hell. Like
That's why I want it.
Think
I
that
wanna
would be
see,
bad.
I want to see that redone.
Okay.
He would own that.
But her is
own that.
He would own the
But
company.
what about
when he was done.
Loja as the Edie McClurg character?
Either way.
I really don't like the way you're talking to me right now.
Well,
Watch your tone.
You're fucked.
You're fucked. Get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got,
We
Kurt?
should have done a disclaimer.
That's right.
How many times are we going to say that?
Well, we're
right.
going to say it as many times
It's
as
too late.
Neil said it in
That's
the
right.
movie. So,
I think we've already surpassed
That's fine.
18 times.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so I went with Gus's son Owen. I want to change that to
Loja.
I want to turn it into Gus's dad, Loja. And instead of it being his wife, it's his daughter. Or instead of the wife and stuff, it's the daughter. My daughter pushed out a baby sideways and not screaming or nothing. I just wanted to say that about the daughter.
Are you stupid? People train doesn't go to Wichita.
Yeah. Put it down. She's short and sturdy.
I want to hear.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
just thought of another character.
Okay. Yeah. Well, my Loja is, I would take, it seems like a job not for Loja, but I would like to see him as that stewardess the first time he's getting on the plane and he's mad he doesn't have his first class seat. You got a coach assignment. Go sit your ass down.
I want to see him be the guy that picked him up by his testicles.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that's great. Being that guy.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he said that, I'll follow you to the John to watch you take a leak, the fire that would have gone in Loja's eyes. Who are you talking to?
Never seen a guy get picked up by his testicles before.
Oh, my goodness. So, yeah. All right. Well, there's probably lots of Loja could do in this movie. So, he could be take Ferris's dad out, put Loja in. You're not going to make the fucking 6. Take the 8 o'clock.
Or the guy checking the pictures.
prints?
Yeah.
Or what about
What are you fucking talking about down there?
What about Loja as that lawyer that shakes him down for $75 for the cab?
Anybody that'll pay 50, I'll pay 75.
Put it in my hand. Pay me. So basically, he could just be every other character.
Every character.
Basically. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
You got to get AI to do that.
All right, let's go to category 4, plot holes or questions. I actually don't have a ton. Here I have a couple, but I'll start with this one.
Okay.
At the end, how long do you think Dell gets to stay at the house? Just for Thanksgiving? Does he get to be there through the holidays?
Well, I'm sure he's got to get back out on the road and sell those.
I'm going to give it a week,
rings.
and she's like, either he's out of here or you're both asses are out of this house. Like, you pick. Because he's going to destroy the inside of that lady's house.
Yeah.
And she looks like she's not going to take that well.
And
all right.
She's going to make Neil do it.
I
Neil, you go
believe
down
that.
there and you tell him.
Yep. It's time for
He's
him to
out.
go.
He's gone. Yeah,
Or-
Neil,
or it's
that's
you.
it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a home. I don't give a shit. Get him out. Have you seen? Do you remember what Uncle Buck did to the kitchen?
Yeah.
Dell does that to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Or what he
So-
did to the bathroom.
Oh, their bathroom's going to be rough.
Which brings me to my plot hole.
Okay.
The bathroom scene.
Yes.
How is Steve Martin
I know.
surprised when
Oh.
he gets out of the shower?
Yeah.
He would have seen it going
How
in.
long
Yes.
was he taking a shower for?
And if
Because he
Dell
does
was
it
coming
while
in
showering.
while he was in there.
So that's
He
what's
would've
supposed
known.
to have happened is Dell came in while he was showering. I'm like, hey, you didn't hear him? You didn't
Yeah.
hear nothing? It's so gross. I've watched
Yeah.
that scene multiple
I
times last
can't.
week, and it's hotel rooms are already kind of gross, and it's just
Bathroom hotel floor.
It's gross when he steps on the floor and all the towels are wet, and it's just like
the idea of a wet bathroom floor.
Yeah. So, I do have another one.
Reminds me about an hour ago.
You mentioned it a little while. Oh yeah, yeah, it's not good.
Good old Dell over here.
Good old Dell Griffith.
One day I'm gonna show up. You're gonna have your underwear.
Do you think that's right? Do you think Steve Martin's character? Do you think Neil has to buy a new car for the rental car company because it's rented in his name and they burn that thing to the ground, then they impound it? It's not a serviceable car.
Yeah.
So you're not turning it back into Monarch.
Dale didn't buy insurance.
No,
he might have since he was using Neil's car.
He might have, but
that's the only thing I can think of that would save.
He's tipping the pizza guy $1.
Yeah, it's rough. He's a penny pincher.
So he's not going to buy the insurance.
Yeah. So, and look, one last question. Dale's a great salesman.
Yeah.
Good. People really believing those were earrings? The shower curtains?
Autographed Daryl Strawberry.
Autograph. Yeah. But there's no autograph on any of them.
He said one was like Chinese something. He goes, not the
but
actual
they're really
one.
nice remakes or whatever.
And then when they're eating, there's a lady behind him in a booth, and she's wearing. Anyway, it makes you look older. 18, 19, easy.
Yeah.
Here's my money. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that takes us to category 5.
I didn't do my plot hole.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, when you, me.
You said like 3 things already.
Okay.
Well, what's your plot hole?
What's your number 1?
The only thing I saw was the ticket. It said the flight leaves at 6 and arrives at Chicago at 6:45.
Oh, yeah, that's a 2.5 hour
Yeah,
flight.
the average flight from JFK to Chicago is 2 hours and 49 minutes.
Well, to be fair, he also...
So it would never have been possible for Neil to arrive at home in such a short period of time. Anyway.
Well, to be fair, he also showed up at the airport at 5:58 for a 6 o'clock flight
Yeah.
in New York City. Even in 87, I think that's tough, right?
And we've never flown through Chicago. My parents did one year.
It's a nightmare.
My grandpa even warned us, said, do not fly through Chicago. And they did. And they ended up at a Greyhound bus station in downtown Chicago.
Sounds right.
And they had to take a Greyhound bus all the way from wherever it was. My dad had to stand for like 3 hours on a bus. It was
They lived the adventures in babysitting. They lived through it. Hey, now that you talk about that, the wife is concerned he's lying to her. She's not getting home. If Chicago O'Hare is really shut down, which by the way, that's a major hub to just shut down. Couldn't she just flip the news on and it would have been like, that would have been all over the news that, Chicago O'Hare shut down for the night. That would have been on the news in 1987. Wouldn't have been hard to come up. There's no internet, I got it, but it would have been hard to get that information in Chicago. She's in Chicago.
Yeah,
so,
true.
Yeah. So, and does he work in New York and go back and forth?
I wondered that.
Because the daughter makes that comment. The daughter makes the comment. She goes, his flight's delayed. Like, that's not the first time that's happened. Mm-hmm. Does he work in Chicago and that's like a corporate thing he has to go to?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, but...
Yeah. Because when the daughter makes the comment of, his flight's delayed again, it feels like that's happened before. So how often is he flying? I don't know. So it's like you're working in New York and going back to Chicago. There's jobs in Chicago, right? Jobs. Go to Ferris's dad. Ferris' dad is in New York with him. They can go back to his job, his marketing job there.
Go work for the Sausage King.
Maybe
that's right. Yeah.
They were in the same biz.
That's right. The Sausage King is always hiring. You can find somebody to do that. So, so that was your plot hole, right?
That was my plot hole.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then category 5, worst character.
You're in the Navy, remember? It's not a job. It's an adventure.
I found the Batcave.
We gotta get those locks changed.
She knows who we are.
Guess we'll just have to kill her.
Yep, we'll kill her later. We have work to do.
All you wanted to do was embarrass me. Well, you did it, okay? Grandfather always said you were a loser. Now you're trying to make me one, and I hate you for it.
I'll clear up. We've modified this. This used to be worst actor. This is now worst character / actor. It's up to you. If you think an actor is doing a really bad job, that's fine. But it could be that the actor is doing a really great job and the character just sucks a lot, or like you don't need it in the movie. However you want to interpret it. Again, you have carte blanche.
Yeah.
Over this. So, Kurt, we're waiting.
You've used that word
twice. Twice.
Carte blanche.
Yeah, I heard it this week, and I felt like I wanted to interweave it into the show.
Ooh, interweave. That's
so, yes.
Wow.
Well, Kurt, we're waiting with baby's breath for your worst character / actor.
All right, I went with a guy that did a really great job, but just I couldn't stand him. Is Dell.
Oh wow, yeah.
I can't stand him.
Oh really?
It's
just
rough.
I have a really big pet peeve of people that are inconsiderate to others around them.
Yes,
and his complete obliviousness to what's
everything
around him.
Gross.
I just
Kinda
can't
like
get
when
over.
people don't say thank you.
That's correct. Yeah. He is upset about that too. I'm rubbing it in.
A fire in my soul right now.
Like, look, if you're going to smoke, okay, but go outside, right? And then come back in.
Yeah.
If you're going to eat food, go sit at the table they have over there. Don't eat it in bed.
Oh, the food in bed thing.
It's
is
awful.
Oh.
And real quick,
Sleeping in a puddle of beer.
Yeah, we didn't really address it, but we're not sleeping in that bed together with a stranger. I'm either sleeping on the floor.
Or you get a rollaway cot. They have them.
They have rollaways. I'll just go sleep in one of those chairs. Give me a blanket. I'll just sit over here and sleep. Like, I'm not sleeping in that bed with him.
No.
So, yeah, look, we've known each other 30 plus years. We're probably not sharing that bed. I'll find another place to sleep. Like, it's fine. So,
yeah, we've shared
between
beds together.
two warm pillows.
All right, Rob, who's your worst character?
I just said I didn't understand the point of Kevin Bacon.
Okay, I got that. No reason.
Such a weird.
Yeah,
it was a
just
weird cameo. I didn't. He was big at the time.
It's one of those things.
And he was in the movie for 30 seconds. And
yeah,
like, why?
I gotcha.
What'd you do that for?
So, well, mine is
because I liked everybody else.
Yeah, mine's the wife, and I'm giving this worst actor / character. The character sucks because. But first of all,
It could have been because she didn't really have a good direction because of everything that was cut.
But even when she is acting, like when she comes down the stairs, she
Single
doesn't
tear.
look that excited or happy that he's home. She has this kind of like constipated look on her face. And then
It is a dramatic.
And the way she talks, hello, Mr. Griffith. It's just like, God, what are you doing? And then like when they show her talking on the phone, she's like, well, what do you mean you're in Wichita? What do you mean? I'm in Wichita.
I'm in Wichita.
Like they divert planes. What do you mean? What am I in Wichita for? Right. So I just think, I don't know. I just don't like the character. And I just don't even think the lady's doing a good job with, like, you could cut all the wife stuff out except for the very end, and then I guess you're fine.
Yeah.
You don't need any of the other parts. It just is a waste of time. Her laying in bed, just watching a movie. Like, what is the point of that? Oh, I'll wait up for you. I just thought she did a bad job.
Yeah.
So I was not pleased with her performance.
I was not pleased with her performance.
So
I'm shocked that you didn't like Dell.
Well, I don't like the
it's his
person.
hair. It's just it is gross.
John Candy did a fabulous job.
He did a great job, but putting your socks in the sink and like again smoking in bed and like just everywhere. I'm with him. The no consideration at the beginning of that movie. I'm just like, now I know they like to make Dell a little more likable, but I'm not inviting him home. Like he's like, oh, I don't have a home anymore. And by the way, does he not really have a home, or does he have a home? And it's just he can't stay at it because it reminds him of the wife.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he's not homeless because he's still working. Why else would he be flying from New York to Chicago? He's still working for the shower ring thing, right?
Yeah, he just doesn't want to go home.
He just doesn't want to go home.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair.
Poor guy.
I know.
So
well done.
Well done.
This character.
All right. It takes us to category 6. Most 1980s object / movie prop in this movie. So, Kurt, what do you got?
I went with the old school Doritos bag on the bed.
That's good.
Oh.
It's just as soon as I saw it, I was like, yep, I remember it. Only in the 80s was those bags.
What do you got, Rob?
I went with there's a scene where they're in the diner.
Okay.
I think it's the diner where he sells the
curtain.
The curtain rings to everybody. And then he's smoking in the restaurant.
Of course.
For some reason, that scene, there's a sideways shot and he's smoking and there's other people.
Oh, yeah.
Just the smoking in a restaurant.
Well, I put smoking everywhere because they're smoking on the bus.
Because
that was
they're
another
smoking
I was
everywhere.
thinking about it. I was like, my kids will never know.
They don't have to deal with it.
There's a smell
It's awful.
of walking into a Sherry's restaurant.
Just old smoke.
And they would have the smoking section.
Yep.
Well, I love that the smoking section was 2 tables away from the non-smoking section.
It just had like the half wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Like
would walk
smoke
in.
can't go over that wall.
Like I'll never notice.
Because I remember after basketball games,
I'm in
on Friday
non-smoking.
nights, we would meet down at Sherry's. The kids would all go down there, and my parents would go, and they would they'd hang a left and go to the smoking section, and we were 10 feet across the hall.
Yeah.
Waving at 'em.
It wasn't like they were sealed off.
No.
But just I was thinking, my kids will never know that smell.
That's fine.
Where it's
They're
always
fine.
everywhere.
Yeah. By the
And
way, that's fine.
It's oddly satisfying to me. I will walk into places and I'll go, this smells like my home. It smells like my childhood. We'll walk into certain bars or we'll walk into a restaurant. You can tell, oh, this used to be a smoking establishment.
I'm not happy about that.
It's in the walls.
So-
It's in
Yeah.
It doesn't get out.
So
Well-
just the smoking in the 80s was everywhere.
Yeah. I've got a few things. So, being a shower curtain salesman, you wouldn't be that now. That's an 80s thing. Like you're
just go to
just going to go to Amazon and just do a bulk order. You're not going to be a $42 for a hotel room for a night. That's pretty good. 40 what?
$42.50.
Okay, fine. $42.50.
Or
That's
$2
very 80s.
and a Casio.
Oh,
Yeah,
Casio
or
watch.
Casio, very nice.
I love the dragging of it across the arm.
I'm going to have to say goodnight.
I put an earring shower ring autographed by Daryl Strawberry. If that's not 80s, I don't know what it is. Like, if your kids watch that now, they're like, who's Daryl Strawberry? Like, that's very 87. A diner's card? I don't even think that exists anymore.
I looked it up. You can't get it unless it's like a company diner's
Oh,
card.
okay. But the number one thing I thought, that credit card machine, like you put your credit card in and they like back and forth.
Yeah.
That's not a thing anymore.
Scans it in
That's
triplicate.
totally 80s. You get the little, here's your yellow copy.
Yep.
And this is how we tracked it. That's how they got switched up, because I was asking my wife, I go, do they really switch them like that? I go, they don't even, she says, no, it's the 80s. They don't even look at your name or nothing. It's like, okay, credit card, here you go. Knock yourself out. You can use whatever you wanted back then.
That's crazy.
So,
no,
I would say that credit card machine, to me, is the most 80s thing in the movie. And there's 1,000 80s things in the movie. Payphones. You could just say the payphones that they keep using.
Well, that was all the way through the 90s, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it started to tail off. It was more 80s.
I love when they're in the, the bus station or whatever, when he's trying to pick up the phone.
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing there had to be like a cut
how
scene
gross was it?
that showed you why it was so gross.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't anything on it visibly.
Oh,
So
back, this is it's kind of off the topic, but back when they meet the guy's son for the ride.
Yeah.
He had
Spit in his hand. Yeah.
So when he shook
spit all over
Steve
it.
Martin's hand, it was, his reaction was real.
Yeah, because they said it was like the 11th or 12th take.
Yeah.
They said he gagged off screen afterwards, and then that guy was laughing. So
just the way he's going,
that dude with the it doesn't even make sense.
No, it's so good.
It's so horrible.
Anyway,
by the way, would they have not gotten like frostbite in the back of that truck?
Oh, absolutely.
And by the
and where'd that dog come from?
And what about
where he goes,
that was
just
one of my
a tip,
plot holes. I
just a
forgot
tip,
to say that
just a
one.
tip.
How did they get to the cab of the truck without stepping on the dog first?
I know.
Underneath the straw.
And then in the back of a freezer meat truck, how did they not freeze to death in that thing too?
He yells at the
like
dog.
it has to be cold.
Give him
in
the
there.
glove.
Give him the glove. Just give it to him. But then the dog's frozen at the end, still snarling. So okay, well that takes us to category 7. Our last category, our Harry Temple. I should have stayed in Aspen moment.
Aspen it is.
All right, this is a moment in the movie when a character knows or realizes their demise or that something really bad is about to occur. So, Rob, what is your Aspen moment?
I don't know if anything bad was going to happen, but just at the very beginning,
There's always something bad
when
happening.
Dell steals the cab the first time, and he catches up to it and he rips the door open. He goes, "Hey, get out of it!" And the look the look on Dell's face,
pretty good. Yeah,
I just thought it was funny. And
what do you got, Kurt?
Made me laugh.
Mine was right before the taxi guy grabs him by the
Oh
testicles.
yeah, he knew.
When he goes, all right, you help him up. I'll move the car.
No problem.
And then doink. It's like, oh.
Well, I went with when it goes back to Coach and he sees he has to sit next to Dell. The look on Steve Martin's face is like, you got to be kidding me with this, right? That's definitely, I should have stayed in Aspen. I got to fly next to this guy the whole way, you know? So
sitting next to some chowderhead.
Chowderhead, yeah.
Doesn't know what to
be quiet. So, what is it? My dogs are barking. They've been barking all day.
And then he takes his socks off.
I know. It's gross.
I don't do feet, and that
No. You don't do feet. You've mentioned that many times on this podcast.
Feet are
But he does
gross.
sell pictures of his own.
He does sell pictures of his own.
Yeah, you can catch me on
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
It's not going to pay for itself.
Totally 80s and 90s recall.com.
Hey,
look for the tab that says
real quick
drops feet.
Before we jump to the Connor's Corner, I do have a theory of what about the movie, right? So let's paint a picture. So
they're dead.
No.
Oh.
Dell's hauling that trunk around the whole time.
His wife's body's in the trunk.
Thank you very much.
Oh, no way.
So Dell is a serial killer, and he goes around and he basically targets who he wants to go after. So you give that a day, everyone in that house is now dead, and he takes parts in his trunk and he walks around with the trunk.
Buzzkill.
That trunk, I don't know how that thing didn't pop open though when it landed on the,
He's got
the
it.
highway.
Yeah, but she's in the trunk. Marie, just something of Marie the head, something's in the trunk. So he's hauling that around.
Get out.
Yeah,
I want to know who's watching the
he's
trunk
too
when they're in
nice.
like the diners and stuff because he's
No,
got
where
his
did
other
they go?
bags, but not the not the.
Well, and at the train, he had his other bags, but the trunk was nowhere to be seen. So I don't know if he'd already loaded it on the plane. But yeah, there's a scenario where Dell's maybe a serial killer, and every holiday, he targets someone.
He just can't let go of his wife, so he
has
carries
to
her
stay
around.
with him. Because see the efforts he goes to stay with Neil the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, you're never going to get a flight out. Oh, I know a guy. I know another guy. And he never gets caught because he roams the country. So he's always from spot to spot. So he's not making the same mistakes in the same towns, so they don't link the murders together.
It totally works.
Totally works.
So
wow.
Yeah. So there's a good scenario. He eats Thanksgiving dinner, leaves 2 days later, and that house is just like a slaughter fest, and he just took the parts he needs and he's on his way. So let's go sell him some more shower curtains.
Well, you ruined it for me.
No, you're good. It's all good.
Your family classic. And
family classic. That's not a real thing, but you could cut the trailer to make it look like that. Put some spooky music in it.
One of those things you can do.
You can make it look like a horror movie in about 2 seconds.
I like me. My wife likes me.
You'll never get out of
And my wife will never
When you cut
leave.
the trailer, it goes into his face, and then they play that music, boo boo boo, something like that. So, but okay, well, we've covered all of our. I had a weird fan theory there, but that's
was
fine.
good.
And we've covered all of our categories. So, for the first time in a couple weeks, we have something for Connor's Corner.
Oh, Connor's Corner. He watches movies. It's Connor's Corner. Oh, yeah.
All right, this is not Connor because, as we know, he's too busy for us right
Yeah,
now.
he's partying.
That's what he's doing.
He's one of them college kids.
Enjoying college.
Try to get all educated.
He's working on biology.
That is correct. Photosynthesis.
That's right. Chlorophyll, more like borophyll.
Reproduction.
Where the pollen meets the stamen.
Anyway, so we had a fan write in, William W. He wrote us a thing.
Ooh, yes.
Okay.
This review is going to be totally opposite of a Connor's Corner since I've seen this movie before. It says maybe 1,000 times. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is not only a Thanksgiving classic, but it holds up as one of the best comedies of all time. One might think that putting two comedy legends together on screen would result in a clash of egos, but Steve Martin and John Candy have some of the best on-screen chemistry I've ever seen. Steve Martin plays the exasperated, that's a big word, cynical, stressed husband and father to perfection. Candy, on the other hand, is an absolute gem as the happy-go-lucky extrovert. But together they are cinematic perfection as they play off one another. Throw in a script and wonderful direction from 80s legend John Hughes, and what emerges is a holiday classic that still holds up almost 40 years later. This movie is playing in our house every Thanksgiving. With two leads and legendary director, this flick gets 5 out of 5 stars.
Wow.
So there we go.
William W.
Yes, thank you for your...
Well done, William.
Thank you for your guest spot this week on Connor's Corner.
Yeah. And
So.
he doesn't get anything.
No. You get a...
Not even a
You
thanks.
just get a thank you.
You get a how do you do, and he gets a thank you. He gets a thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Kurt says,
They're just giving them out.
He
You
gets a
do
thank
one
you.
little Connor's Corner and he gets a thank you.
You get a thank
I
you.
drag my ass in here every other week.
We're like Oprah with everyone but Kurt. You get a thank you.
That's
You
right.
get a thank you. That's how it works. So. All right. Well, that means it's time for our final judgment. We go way back to a year ago when you saw it for the first time. Fast forward to now, and what do you still think about the movie?
I think I like it a lot more now. Now that I've had, like Rob was talking about earlier, where you actually really listen to what's being said and everything, I think I'll probably be watching it more often on the Thanksgiving holiday.
Very nice.
I agree. I think it's a classic, and I'm sad that I didn't spend more time with it.
Spend more time with it.
It's
Yeah.
a good movie.
You've lost years.
I've lost years.
Lost
I'll
them.
never get them back.
That's correct. It's okay.
I'll make up for lost.
If you watch it every day for a year, you're caught up.
We're good.
There
Yeah,
you go.
there you go.
So I'm with you guys. I think I I was a little bored with it when I was younger, but I think I understand the jokes now. So watching it older, obviously a lot of it makes more sense. And although a lot of it's overblown, I have had a couple travel hiccups. So I know how frustrating that can be, or like if something's not there when you need it or something like that. So luckily I've never had a bag lost or anything, so that's good. But I know travel can be stressful. So
It's
so
fun.
I get it.
I love travel.
Now I don't adopt random strangers and share hotels with them the first time I meet them or any of that, but you know, it is what it is.
And they got
That's just because sometimes he's got me traveling with him.
Oh, that's right.
I'm a bad enough Dell.
Yeah, we went to Hawaii together, but we were on different planes, so we didn't really get to do a Dell moment.
We did.
Yeah.
And you had tummy trouble, so you wouldn't get on
Did
the
have
bus.
tummy
with me.
trouble.
Damn Kahlua pork.
Damn it. It was rough. Freaking Honolulu.
You missed that bus trip.
Dang it. I missed like the banana farm or the pineapple farm or
Yeah,
something.
You missed the Dole.
Oh,
Pineapple.
man. I was looking forward to Dole.
You missed the whip.
I missed it. So, okay. I think that covers everything you would ever need to know about planes, trains, and automobiles, unless you two have anything else.
No.
Thanks for your input, Kurt.
You're welcome.
All right. Hey, fans.
Thanks for the thanks.
If you'd like to support the show, take a second to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and then share Totally 80s and 90s Recall with a friend so we can spread the fun and nostalgia far and wide. Also, you can reach out to the show on pretty much all the social media platforms. Subscribe to our Facebook page to interact and get updates about the show. Or message us on Instagram or TikTok. We're also on YouTube. You can see us live. You can leave us messages. Give us ideas for show topics.
Sure.
And whatever else you want to tell us.
And they will thank you.
They do thank us from time to time.
Whatever else you want.
They do thank us. They thank you too.
No, I meant you will thank them.
I will always thank the fans.
Yeah.
They're more important.
Wow, that was a good wheeze.
So all of that will be available, by the way, in the show notes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's do a little time bending and visit the good old days, shall we? Dave, Kurt, and I included
Thanks.
you. Yeah.
Thanks for including
I
me.
want you to remember that the Total 80s and 90s Recall podcast is the perfect complement to your listening experience and the perfect antidote to modern life. We're the Axel to your Slash and the John McClane to your Hans Gruber.
Ooh.
Now, don't just sit there like a slab of meat with mittens. Visit Totally 80s 90s Recall at podbean.com because you'd have better luck playing pickup sticks with your butt cheeks than finding more entertaining content than the Totally 80s 90s Recall podcast. If it's knowledge you seek, send us an email at 80s90srecall@gmail.com. Consider the Totally 80s and 90s Recall podcast your amusement asylum. Step into a place of immersive, often thrilling entertainment where reality blurs and imagination takes flight.
Ooh.
It's a labyrinth of sensory experiences combining the excitement of an amusement park with the eerie allure of an asylum. I know.
What's an amusement park?
I've been drinking.
I think so.
I'm sorry.
You sound like Vincent Price over there. The thriller.
Yes. The experience combining the excitement of an amusement park with the eerie allure of an asylum.
Yes. All right.
There you go. Sorry.
Really good.
All right.
Okay. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
If you enjoy the show and want to help us survive the unexpected twists and turns of podcast life, then please go to wherever you get your podcast and give us a 5-star rating. Your help will be like a North Star guiding others to the home that we call Totally 80s and 90s Recall.
Oh.
Also, if you're enjoying the ride, why not grab a piece of the action? Whether you're gearing up for your own travel chaos or just want to rep the podcast in style, we've got your shirts, mugs, and more that'll make your day a little brighter. So head to our merch store on the show's website.
Wow.
These are getting good.
These are getting real good.
These are good. He's a smoothie. He's a smoothie.
He's
Getting better, but no thanks.
All right, Rob.
Yes. Sorry.
Do you have any closing thoughts?
I didn't come prepared with
That's great. You know, it's been like 6 shows in a row. You haven't come with any. Off the top of your head, give us a closing thought.
I like it. It's a good movie.
I like when things
Oh,
close.
that's an assessment. Closing thoughts. Got to be something like, thought-provoking or inspiring.
I got nothing.
Great. All right.
I think you should go watch this movie.
Good.
There you go.
That's your seal of
Don't
approval.
just stand there like a slab of meat with mittens.
Slab of meat with mittens. That's correct. So,
And don't
all
play
right.
with your balls.
That's right. Larry Bird says no. All right. Weird books, crappy motel rooms, way too many F-bombs, and a rental car that's totally destroyed couldn't stop us this Thanksgiving, or Neil or Dell for that matter. Unfortunately, though, that brings us to the end of this week's episode as we look back at the 1987 Thanksgiving classic, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. As always, we want to thank the Movie Hound for sharing his cinematic expertise with us and being able to get his hand out from in between those two pillows.
Yeah, thank you. And did you say, as always, we'd like to thank you?
always.
Yet, when it's time to thank you, you don't thank you. Got it.
It was just
Okay.
once. So
One time.
whatever. You're so like
Needy.
upset. Yeah, and you are needy.
I'm okay with that.
No, Rob. The kids say he's extra.
Oh,
That's
he's
right.
extra.
He's very extra this week.
I'm all right with that.
High maintenance. Well, finally, a
Not
big shout out to you, our awesome listeners. Whether you're tuning in for the first time or you're a longtime subscriber, we can't thank you enough for hanging out with us this week. We hope we gave you a fun hour or so of laughs, memories, and don't forget, you can catch all new episodes of Totally 80s and 90s Recall every
Tuesday.
Awesome.
Tuesday.
That
was really good.
Sound like
like Barry White.
Barry White.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a new job someplace else where they thank me.
Tuesday.
Hey, ladies, come on over on Tuesdays. All right.
But not after 8. I got an early bedtime.
Okay, I got you. We'll have to do that another day then.
My meds start kicking in. Right?
They do.
Yeah, that's right. What are we doing next time?
Well, we have homework.
Oh, crap.
Usually you say, what's our homework for next time?
What's our homework for next
Man, you're getting all conflustered.
I'm combobulated.
I said
Discombobulated.
Confused and flustered. I've made a word. You are conflustered.
Confuzzled.
Nope. Stop trying to copy me. All right. So next week we are doing, actually, it was basically requested by my wife.
My wife.
We are doing one of the best movies
I'm
we
just
could
gonna
do.
go ahead and say she's got a little pull around.
She does. She's an active part of this show.
The hater of all things wants something.
She does.
From a movie. Okay.
She's changing
All right.
song.
And I think
she's requesting.
She's executive producing.
She is an executive producer.
Wow, okay.
Uncredited.
I didn't see her on the page.
I know.
But I'm sure she got thanked.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it?
Oh, I'm sure
Hey,
she got thanked.
like your pod, love your wife. There
Okay,
you go.
that's true.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Put that on a
so
shirt.
we are doing 1994 comedy classic, and I think all three of us can appreciate that it's a classic.
Yeah.
It's the 30th anniversary of Dumb and Dumber.
Nice.
So
Which
I
one are
don't,
you?
I don't know how we're going to make it through this situation, but we're going to do our best. But this came out. She asked because she said she saw this on her birthday after in 1994. So she turned 18, and so she went and saw this on her birthday, and this came out December 6th. So we're doing it like 2 days before its release, 30 years ago. So she kind of requested it. It's not holiday centric, but it's a vivid memory. And since, as you said, she has some pull around here, we're going to go ahead and let her.
The boss.
She's a Nepentese baby. Little Nepentese. So, all right. Well, so Dumb and Dumber, that should be a joy for us to, we might not even have to research that much.
So wait, you mean I got back-to-back weeks
That is correct.
of me?
And done right, we may have you for a third week, and then 2 movies after that. We may just have you for the next month. So I think the fans will be excited.
Why
I got to check my contract.
Why don't
You're
you just,
I definitely have to check my contract.
No, there's no union around
This-
here. You do what we tell you. So guess what? No more thank yous for you, sir.
Well, then I just thank you, sir.
All right.
Good day, son.
Say good day.
All right, Rob, you got anything else?
I got nothing else.
Anything?
Nothing.
Fancy goodbyes?
No
Nope.
fancy goodbyes.
An extra set of balls and some fingers.
I don't play with my balls.
Yes, you do. Give him a tickle.
You know I can't cook.
Gobble, gobble.
I like the gobble gobble is really good.
David, do you want the ambrosia?
I want the gobble gobble.
You gobble.
You're going to be gobbling.
ABG, always be gobbling.
Always be gobbling.